to another episode of Believe in the Houston Texans. I am one part of your show, Ruben Calavia, joined by the handsome man himself, Harley Dugan. This episode brought to you by Bet Online. The last of the major pro sports leagues is off and rolling, and college basketball is ready to go as well. Bet Online remains your top spot for all your live betting actions and contests.
NFL, CFB, UFC, NHL, they're all in full swing. Bet Online is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions, all the hoops betting action, along with every sport available at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to the Bet Online today and remember to use our promo code BLEAV, Believe, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts.
You know, Harley, we have the Arizona Cardinals coming up. It will be a home game for the Houston Texans. They have a 3-game home stretch coming up. Excited for that. Shout out to Brody, first one of the chat. John said he texted an injury report that will come a little bit later. We do know, however, that Nico Collins was practicing, which is a good sign. But I am a little worried about this game as well. We heard people call the Falcons a trap game. I didn't want to believe that. I was like, no, they're not. Well, you lost to them against the Carolina Panthers. A lot of people called it a trap game, and I'm like, no, you're supposed to beat the Carolina Panthers, but we know how that played out. This game against the Arizona Cardinals, it screams trap game because you are coming off of a gritty, fantastic comeback from behind victory against the Cincinnati Bengals at the Jungle. And now everyone is wondering what you're going to do against Cincinnati. If you lose against the Cardinals, you lose so much of the air that is in the balloon. And man, I just don't want to feel like I felt against the Falcons because it got worse when I saw it against the Panthers. And man, it would kick me in the nuts if we get a L on Sunday.
Yeah, that would be that would be horrible. And as some people know, we're a little hesitant going into this game. I
Yes.
think last time we got a little bit too in on ourselves when it came to the Carolina Panthers. Yes, they were a winless team, and I absolutely thought we were going to beat the absolute crap out of them. I did. I'm not going to lie. That's why I predicted the Texans to absolutely win that game. Sure, there's always an any given Sunday, and that's really what the mindset is here moving with the Arizona Cardinals. Is it the time where we're playing them at the wrong time? Kyler Murray's back. And if anybody just saw, sure, last week, the stats don't look so hot for him, but he led that team to a game-winning drive and got them the W. They are 1-0 now with Kyler Murray. 1-8 without Kyler Murray. A lot of people forgot how good Kyler Murray is at the game of football. This is going to be a big step for DeMeco Ryans as the defensive coordinator and his struggles against mobile quarterbacks. How is he going to contain a Kyler Murray? It's going to be a fun game, actually. This should be a competitive one.
I feel it also. I feel like it might be, a game of big plays. You talk about the mobile quarterback. Well, the Houston Texans have showed so far this season that they have a tough time against them. Lamar Jackson against the Ravens. AR-15 for the Colts before he went out. Say what you want about Desmond Ridder. He is a mobile quarterback. And Bryce Young, mobile as well, extending plays, the Texans just have not had success against them. So this is going to be a tough matchup. A number one overall pick that CJ Stroud will be going against. He is 1-1 against number one overall picks. A win against Joe Burrow, a loss against Bryce Young, and he's looking to see and get a W against Kyler Murray. No, a tough game. One key matchup though is our passing attack against the Arizona Cardinals secondary because it's not good, quite frankly. And they are allowing, a 100 quarterback rating to opposing quarterbacks. This
Mm.
screams like it should be a CJ Stroud type of day. But once again, we just got a any given Sunday, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, we can't tread lightly. We've it's because it's sad to say that because you don't want this team to get into the narrative like we mentioned in our last live stream or the previous one before Matt Sims. Excuse me. You don't want to get into the mindset of, man, are we just playing up to the competition? Whether Bengals game, huge win, upset statement win. Steelers game, huge upset statement win. Jaguars game, huge upset statement win. The Saints game was a kind of a toss up in terms of the betting lines. That's really the only game that could have gone either way that you pulled out. You know, Other games, Ravens game, Colts game, the Panthers and Falcons is the two that we look at when we go into this mindset. Man, it just sucks to have it. You should have
Mm,
whooped the Panthers. You should have whooped the Falcons. Falcons ended up having their best game in the NFL under Arthur Smith as a head coach. Desmond Ritter throws for 300 plus passing yards, yada, yada, yada. Panthers, we all know that story. 0-6, we're thinking easy dub. You can't overlook them. And at the end of the day, it's also a learning curve for this young team, how to handle success and how to move forward as an NFL team, as a relevant up and coming team.
mm-hmm.
This is a game you have to win. These are must win, easy layup games. Like, no offense to the Cardinals. They're 2-8. I know they got Kyler Murray. You got to beat this team, especially when you're looking forward into the rest of the schedule and potentially the playoffs.
John brings up a comment right here. The good thing is we're at home. We have currently been undefeated at home while the Falcons and Panthers team were away. Currently 3 and
Sure.
1 at home. Our loss against the Indianapolis Colts. Um, it's just gonna be a interesting matchup to see. The Cardinals are not also a very good run defending team, and the Houston Texans just got off of their best rushing performance of the year. Devin Singletary, 150 yards, 1 touchdown, 5.0 yards a carry. Harley, do you think we will see the same thing we saw on Sunday from this Russian attack? I'm going to say no because what this team has showed me all season is that they can't run the ball. I'm thinking more towards like 60, 70 yards for Devin Singletary.
Yeah, I could see that. I could agree with that. I'm not gonna let one game against a bottom 10 run defense in the Cincinnati Bengals sway you know, my opinions on how this run
Mhm.
game is going to move going forward. It is what it is right now. We're going to have this kind of game against the Cardinals where, yeah, I think Devin Singletary, as we saw last week, ran the ball very well, but was it a product of him actually fitting the scheme, or was it a problem of just being against a bad run defense? Like, what is it? So, there's been plenty of question marks with this run game. Devin Singletary gave us some hope. He gave us some light, but, we'll see moving forward whether or not it is any of substance against the Cardinals.
And we are going to bring in Mr. Ed Smith, former two-sport professional athlete, motivational speaker, author, radio personality. We also have Javon Adams. They are from Believe in Arizona Cardinals. Guys, what is going on?
What's going on with you, man?
Great to be in there with you, man.
Nice to see
Excited
it.
to
Nice to
have
see
you,
it.
man. Excited to have you. We are a little nervous over here in H-Town. Yes, we have had some success, but with that comes, with that success, there has been some lows. A loss against the Falcons, a loss against the Carolina Panthers, who were winless. This game against the Cardinals kind of feels like a trap game. You guys are getting Kyler Murray, in his second game. How are y'all feeling?
I'll let you go ahead and take that, Ed.
Well, we're optimistic, but at the same time, there's not not a ton of weapons here still, and we're still trying to figure out what the whole plan is for Kyler Murray. Meaning, we're going to get a sample size and then they might shut him down, or are they just ready to unleash him and see what he can do the rest of the year with this roster? We got a nice view of him last week. He looked really good. I wasn't. I didn't know what to expect. I know Jay didn't as well. We thought there might be a lot of rust. That dude didn't look like he was that rusty. He picked right up where he left off before the injury, and that could be a good sign for the Cardinals.
I'll go off of that. So to echo what Ed is saying, I mean, I don't think you should be worried. I mean, you guys are just the squad, the Texans. One of the things that Ed and I talk about is how you messing up the draft picks for the Arizona Cardinals because you're doing so well, and we made that trade. But yeah, I don't think it's anything to be concerned about because I think it'll be an exciting game at the very least, and that's in his return and the way he performed last week. That gave the Cardinals fans optimism. They gave them a reason to hope and expectations. I don't think expectations for not so much this season, but if the Cardinals do decide to stick with Kyler, that it could bode well for the organization if they put some of those pieces around them and continue to build.
What are we looking at when we get into this game, man? Texans, Cardinals, you're talking about a competitive game. We mentioned it before y'all got here. We think it's going to be a competitive game. Kyler Murray is back, it seems, 1-0 with Kyler Murray, 1-8 without Kyler Murray. So that's always a pretty good statistic to have, huh? And game-winning drive for y'all as well. Oh, okay. Okay, now I'm like, oh, okay, let me widen my eyes a little bit more with these Arizona Cardinals. Let me see what's going on. What are y'all looking at in terms of the matchup here?
I'll let you take it, Ed.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. I think optimism is something you guys should be very optimistic and feeling that high right now after what Stroud has done over the last few weeks. And I think the future looks very bright. Now this could be a trap game. After coming off that big victory last week, exciting win. 2 back-to-back thrillers actually for you guys. So you got to make sure you're watching all the things that we might be doing. But I think it's going to be a great game. 2 young quarterbacks, one fresh off the heap in terms of, coming off this injury. But Stroud has been playing very well. And I like what D'Amico is doing over there, man, as far as the defense and the balance and, what you guys are bringing to the table. And Jay can speak on this. Jay, you can speak on how conservative our approach has been to this point. Obviously, you're coming, a bunch of games with Joshua Dobbs, but I guess we'll see if they can open that can up a little bit, right, Jay?
Yeah, I think, and I guess looking at the line, because what is it right now? It's Houston -5 is the line, so Vegas might be thinking that it could be that your chest might be puffing out if you're the Texans. But yeah, I think if you understand that it's what Ed says all the time, if you have that nice shiny vehicle inside, you don't want to take it out and go 20 miles an hour. You want to be able to try to see what you can do, see what it can do, right? And so I think if Petzing is able to be a little bit more aggressive, not saying toss the whole playbook, throw all the playbook in there, but to really see what you have in Kyler. What I'm concerned about though is the Cardinals, while they're always competitive. So that's one of the things that for a couple of games, they're always competitive. It's being able to, if Stroud is able to pick on the defensive backs for the Cardinals, that might be an opportunity for you. Because I think if I'm looking at it correctly, like Stroud, it's 8.3 yards per attempt when, and that's really pushing the defense to try to make sure that they're on their toes. And so that might be the opportunity for you in this game.
Javon, you bring up CJ Stroud, and I wanted to ask you from another team's perspective, what do you think about this young phenom rookie quarterback? We over here are thinking we got the next Tom Brady. We've seen Tom Brady play the past 2 weeks. We are in love with CJ Stroud, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, I'll say it this way. We were talking about this on because we do not only believe in the Arizona Cardinals, but we do another podcast as well. And so we were talking about, matter of fact, we were talking about it on Believe that CJ Stroud is not Bryce Young, and that's a good thing because what the the positive thing that you have right now is that they've put the pieces around him, at least to not have a super old roster or so young that you have to go through all these growing pains. They're protecting the quarterback well, but he's making the right decisions. And that makes all the difference in the world. It's not as if he's checking down all the time. He's making the right decisions, and that's only led to 2 interceptions, and that's a good thing. So I think you're ahead of schedule. The test is going to be the consistency when it comes next season. No matter how this season goes, this should be if you end up 9-8 or if you get to the playoffs and you make some noise in the playoffs. This is one of those. You're ahead of schedule, so we want to make sure that we're staying ahead of schedule, like staying ahead of the sticks, so to speak, next season. But I would be, I would definitely be optimistic for what this team can become.
We don't know much about the Cardinals. I'll be honest. And even doing my homework, I'm like, okay, cool. Got some few players here and there. All right. You got my boy Roy Lopez, former Houston Texan. I love my boy Roy. He is fantastic. Viva la raza, because that's what we do.
Okay.
And so enlighten the fan base real quick. Enlighten our comment section, because this is a lot of Texans fans up in here. Yeah. What should we expect from the Arizona Cardinals? How should they attack the Texans?
Well, the reason you don't know a lot about the Cardinals is because of how this team was constructed, or should I say deconstructed, right, Jay? Yeah. Over the offseason, the plan was, obviously, we knew we were coming in without our franchise quarterback. We didn't know when he was coming back. Brand new GM, brand new head coach. Excuse me. And what they did is they broke this roster down, didn't re-sign any of our free agents, let everybody go. Went out in free agency and got, not no-name guys, but second-tier guys on these 1 and 2 year deals. And, the plan was, let's just strip it down and go from there. And that's, that's exactly what they've done to this point. And, we don't have a lot of big names on this roster other than Budda Baker, Zaven Collins. You start getting further down, obviously Kyler Murray, and you're like, well, who are these guys? I'll tell you who they are. They're a bunch of dudes that go out there every week. Jay and I thought this was going to be at least I did. I thought this was going to be like a massacre type of year. And we started out the year threatening to win a couple games. We had the Giants down 20-0 at the half, let that one slip by, lost against the, Commanders. We did get that victory against the Cowboys, but then we went this long drought before we got this last victory with Kyler coming back. It's a team that is going to give you everything they have, and that's credit to Gannon as far as I'm concerned, our head coach. He's come in here, cleaned some things up. Kingsbury led a loose ship over the last few years. Yeah. He came over, started laying the groundwork for, hey, this is how we're going to be doing things moving forward. Set some rules, set some standards. And these dudes, man, they go out and every week they play hard. The problem is we're playing with lack of talent. And like I said, we don't have any big names over here, but they're giving it what they got. And with the addition of Murray, we'll see, what we can, string out a couple wins or not. But the biggest thing you'll find is regardless of who these dudes are playing against, they're going to go out there and they're going to give you everything they got. They're not going to quit on you. It's just a matter, like I said, can we match talent-wise across the board? But, I'm very encouraged by the fact that, the majority of these games so far, we've actually been in them.
Yeah.
The 2-8 record doesn't tell the whole story.
And if I can just kind of
go ahead.
What Ed is saying there, it's because we had essentially a backup quarterback playing for all of this season up to, leading us to that 1-7, and then when Clayton 2 had that one start. It's just been, my assumption is that, and I think somebody said it in your comments, was that it's a dangerous game because Kyler is a playmaker. And for that reason, it's because you have a defensive-minded head coach. You just don't know. You never know if now that Petsy can say, all right, now can I do it? Now can I put my foot on the gas? Because defensive-minded head coaches, for the most part, they don't want you to go high octane. They want to be able to try to get some long drives and do things that way. If I think if Petzing is allowed to again see what he has in Kyler with his scheme and maybe get him under center a couple more times than last week to see what he has to offer, that keeps you off balance, because the up to this point, what the pattern or what the behaviors have been should be different now that Kyler is under center.
Javon, you brought up Joshua Dobbs, and right now he's probably one of the biggest stories in the NFL.
Yeah.
With the Minnesota Vikings. It's told by Jonathan Gannon he's not going to get traded. Then he gets traded. What was your reaction to that? And, pretty much your reaction to his play this season with the Cardinals and then his immediate success with the Minnesota Vikings?
I mean, he's a rocket scientist, right? I mean, that's. But to be honest, he's a backup. So no matter how well he does, even in Minnesota, he's a backup. So don't get it twisted. Minnesota, don't go thinking we just gonna sign him. We found our new quarterback. Now he's a backup, and that's okay. He's gonna be a highly paid backup, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think who's the most popular player on any NFL roster? It's the backup quarterback. So you started to hear about the whispers about should they start Clayton Tune just because to see what they got in a rookie, which we saw was a mistake. And he was fighting an uphill battle anyway when playing the game that he started. But I think Joshua Dobbs did a decent job. And they knew Kyler was coming back, and it was just a perfect storm where they could try to get something for him. They got a 6th round when they got him for a 7th round. So they leveled up a little bit and they made a little money, so to speak, off of it. But Joshua Dobbs is impressed. My youngest son is 17 years old, and we over here are Joshua Dobbs fans because we see what he's doing, and that's not easy to go in and just pick up a playbook and have whatever level of success that is. So Joshua Dobbs, hats off to my man Joshua Dobbs.
I'd like to delve into the offense of the Arizona Cardinals. What should we really be expecting? Drew Petzing is a North Turner, stemmed from North Turner way back when with the Cleveland Browns a little bit. Who is Drew Petzing? What should these Texans fans be expecting?
That's the question mark, because what we've seen so far is that he does like to run the ball, which is good because with Connor being back, this is the second game back from being on the injured list. So he likes to run the ball, and Connor loves that to absorb that contact. But even along those lines, you just don't know when it comes to what he's going to do. But I think he'll try to push the ball a little bit more, I think, because when we saw that a little bit last week with Kyler when he played versus Joshua Dobbs didn't always make the right decisions when it came there. And Kyler, and I always joke that Kyler's, when he's throwing it like this because because he can't see over the offensive line. But if they move him the right way and being able to roll him out a little bit left and right, I think that will give them an opportunity. I would think they're going to try to push the field just a little bit more and really just try to win the time of possession because they can run the ball. If Connor's in, if somebody else, we had 8 yards rushing a couple weeks ago. So if Connor is in there, they're gonna try to run that ball.
Now switching to the passing attack from the Arizona Cardinals, now with Kyler Murray back in, Mr. Ed, what should we expect as Houston Texans fans? Our secondary right now, we just got back Derek Stingley last week. Should be having back Steven Nelson against you guys. But as you know, Kyler Murray extend plays. You had a damn good game from your tight end Trey McBride last week. What could we be expecting from this Arizona passing attack?
Yeah, hopefully a whole lot more of that. Obviously, being a former tight end, man, it was good to see that. The biggest thing,
3 McBride, fool, 3,
yeah,
3.
The big
Love him for fantasy.
What Jay and I are hoping to see more of, and we've obviously been following Kyler Murray for these bunch of years, is I'd like to see Kyler under center more in this offense. That's something he has kind of been not his favorite thing to do, but I think that's what Petzing wants to kind of see. And with him under center, it allows, obviously, you guys were just talking about the running game, Connor to get more downhill. It also creates more in our play action passing game. So, for us, we've been first 9 weeks of this season, 10 weeks of the season, everything was kind of side to side, dinking and dunking up front. We get Kyler back, and you're going to find out he throws a pretty deep ball. The problem is we just haven't seen a whole bunch of them from the two backups to this point. I'd love to see them let Kyler throw the ball down the field a little more. Marquise Brown, I guess he's our number one. They're still working on that position at this point. The wide receiver room definitely has to be beefed up. But, hey, let's try to get Marquise over the top a little more and then allow McBride to patrol the middle of that passing attack. So if we can start working on that, you guys might be in for a long day because, you're going to see some things, or I should say, you're going to see some things for the first time, because obviously with the return of Kyler, it's been one of those things that, we just haven't done a whole lot. Now with his return, you're going to get a little more of an attack up the field. And then the other thing you always have to throw into the equation is those little legs, man. When he get those things going, bro, he looks like, it's like Mighty Mouse out there running, bro. I'm telling him, little legs be kicking, boy, and he be escaping. Man, I'm telling you, he causes defense a whole lot of headache. Extending
so
plays.
Disrespectful, dog.
No, I'm just saying, man.
Bruh,
These gentlemen, I'm just saying, these gentlemen have not seen him yet. Keep an eye on them little legs, man. He's going to get out there and he's going to extend some plays. Going to cause a whole lot of headache out there.
Oh, man.
You saw the sky camera where they just had him on the sky camera, and I'm like, what is this, man? What am I looking at?
It's different. Man. I'm telling you, it's definitely different.
I hate you, man.
I'll say this. What is up with the short king lineup? Do y'all know what this short king lineup is for the Arizona Cardinals? I've seen this across Twitter now. Greg Dortch, under 5'10", Marquise Brown under 5'10", Kyler Murray, DeMarco, the running back.
Yeah.
I'm missing some. Rondell Moore. Rondell Moore is like 5 feet. I mean, this is crazy. I'm almost as tall. I'm as tall as all of them.
Talk about going the opposite way, right? Because for the longest time, it's been about trying to get the tall wide receivers with the lanky and can get down, and maybe that are that are strong wide receivers. But yeah, the previous regime, Steve Khan made some interesting choices, man. That's all I can say, dog. That's all I can say.
Interesting.
But I do like Rondell. I do like Rondell Moore, and it's maybe Petzing will try to. Again, it depends on who you have there, right? Because even though you may have a philosophy, but you may not have the quarterback that can execute your philosophy or the strategies that you have in place. So maybe now with being able to use the small wide receivers and the small running backs to be able to try to use it to their advantage based upon what Petzing can do now that he has Kyler in there.
Shout out to our guy Jerry Watson from across the pond. Mr. Ed, you guys have had former Houston Texans DeAndre Hopkins, former Houston Texans J.J. Watt, who is a god here in Houston. What was it like having those two players? And then I'm not sure if you guys saw the Pat McAfee show today, J.J. Watt kind of tickling us about the possibility of returning to the H.
Jay is already gonna laugh at me because he knows you guys had every right to love JJ Watt for what he did for you guys for longevity.
Yes, sir.
He was there and he was a staple of your organization. I had a little bit of issue, he was here 2 years, and it was almost they wanted to put him on the pedestal as a guy here, almost like ready to retire his number and everything. I'm like, we need a little more. He missed some time. He did do well while he was here, but we didn't get the full JJ Watt experience because we got him toward the end of his career. As far as I would like to ask you guys a question with D-Hop, the biggest thing with D-Hop, that brother's never wanted to practice here. He did not want to get on a practice field, but he was ready every Sunday. And it was like, well, dude, at some point, you got to get out there and do your thing Monday through Friday as well. But, that all came to an end. Did he have the propensity to want to miss practice there as well? He did well here, but we saw the tail end of his career here as well. And then we also had to deal with the PED suspension. So both of those gentlemen, we did not get the best of them like you guys did. But we appreciated their contributions to the organization, though.
Yeah, D-Hop, that man, he walked in the building and said, I ain't practicing. It was like, nah, I ain't doing that. That over there? Nah, I'm going to be right over here. I'll be chilling, but I'll be here.
And because of who we had in place as far as our head coach, he basically came in here and told him what he wasn't going to do, and he didn't do it. And he looked at Kingsbury almost like, and what you going to do? Like I said, it was a very interesting tenure here in Arizona, to say the least.
Oh yeah, I thought I see somebody just posted. Would be glad you took David Johnson. Yeah, because David, when y'all got,
That's a good clear.
whoa, that was something. But yeah, that was something. But at
That
least
was
you
one
guys
of the
finished out years
darkest
later, so that's
days
good. Yeah,
being a
good Lord.
Houston Texans fan when we found out we traded DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson. What was crazy is me and Harley had the luxury of finding out like 10 minutes before it happened, and
Okay.
all our jaws just dropped to the floor. I was at work. I had to stop working because I was like, what is going on? Are we like we were just up 21 nothing on the Kansas City Chiefs, and now we're blowing it up. Insane.
Man, yeah.
Not fun. Not fun
Woo.
to talk about.
Good Lord.
We love Hopkins. We love JJ. Yeah, the practice thing. Yeah, that was and it's possibly a reason as a behind the scenes as to why Bill O'Brien has a short temper, and that was probably one reason as to why he got so upset that what, I don't care what I get back in return, I'm just gonna get rid of him, and that was just it's ridiculous. Whatever happened in that damn situation there, it's really hard to talk about. Well, we do like to talk about 2023 in terms of Texans fans. We got 2,626 yards from CJ Stroud. Half of them are from 10-plus yarding plays. I mean, that is absolutely phenomenal to have finally a quarterback in our hands. We almost had one. We almost did. We kind of did. And then the redacted quarterback went away, and now he's shoulder surgery.
He's out on he got that shoulder surgery.
He's gonna have to get loosened up a little bit, so
like he's
without saying what I want to say.
Redacted quarterback. I love it.
He's redacted. We don't mention it too much unless Ruben wants to mention the famous nickname for him.
Our boy Massage Watson.
Yeah, there you go.
Ice up.
Real quick, Ruben was talking about this before the live stream and a little bit before y'all got on here. And, since you were a former player, Ed, I know you could talk about this more. J.J. Watt's retired, and fans are telling me, oh, go ahead and sign him. He can play in a week, and I'm like, it don't work like that. Like, just because he's been lifting, Harley. He's in shape. There's a difference between in shape and football shape. This goes with every sport. And you're a two-sport athlete. I mean, if anyone would know about what J.J. Watt, how many, let's say we play the Cardinals next week. I'm returning to the Houston Texans. I'm being signed. How many weeks would it take for him to even play a game in this regular season?
Well, first off, if he's been in the gym and stuff like that, I give him a lot of props, because the last thing I wanted to do, like when I was officially retired, was get back in the gym, because a lot of that stuff it's not just cosmetic. It's you're working through injuries and all that kind of stuff. When you finally decide to hang him up, the gym is the last thing you want to see. So the fact that he's in there, I give him all props and everything like that. As far as returning to a football field, bro, if that would be like Superman, mistakenly leaving the glasses on and the suit instead of putting the cape on, bro. You talking about looking bad? It would look real bad. There's and I love people they get on treadmills or they run and they think they're in shape. Bro, go ahead and try to do what those dudes are currently doing out there. It is an entirely different level. I'll give you a quick one. When I was playing, I used to always try to keep in shape playing basketball. That was our favorite thing to do. You go hoop, you think, 2 hours running up and down the court and you ready for anything. Bro, the first time you get to training camp and they do those conditioning tests and stuff like that, you find out how out of football shape you really are. It doesn't have anything to do with running up and down the court, shooting and thinking you got your wind and all that stuff. You put those pads on and everything, whole new ball game. And it would take him, and the first thing, and Jay will attest to this, the dreaded soft tissue injury would be just waiting on him. Those hamstrings, those quads, the pull growing, though, that would be just waiting around the corner for him the first time he overexerted. So it would take more than just a week or two. Or that's why they have training camps. That's why they have, a month of training camp. They don't do it like we used to do it back in the day, but that's the reason why they have training camp. And even then, we see in the first quarter of these seasons now, because they don't work as hard as they used to, the first month of the season is almost like training camp these days, or preseason. So you wouldn't want to see that. I guarantee you he doesn't want to see it either.
Man, it's just crazy to even talk about. But one of the great players of this game, Mr. Adams, Mr. Smith, this was a fantastic episode. Wanted to thank you guys, for coming on. Let the fans of Houston know, because we guys love to show love, where you guys' latest work is at.
Well, Believe in the Arizona Cardinals. So go, you can search Believe, BLEAV in the Arizona Cardinals, where you get your podcast. You can do it on Sirius XM app as well. We also, you can find the podcast as well on our website, ezsportstalk.com. That's ezsportstalk.com. And, check in.
Don't forget to mention, Jay, our terrestrial, because we do a national show as well that's based out of Houston. It's on Sports Map Radio. So we're in 35 states, 98 affiliates across the country, and it all generates right out of Houston through Sports Map. So, go to sportsmap.com.
I think it's pixelating a little bit.
Who's that, me or?
It might be me.
Oh, okay.
But but sportsmapradio.com, and it's Saturdays from 1 to 3 Eastern. You go in the upper right corner, sportsmapradio.com, if you're not in one of the 90 plus cities that we're in, and then you can either press play or you can download the app for your Android or mobile device. That's 1 to 3 Eastern every Saturday.
Absolutely, guys. We would definitely be tuning in and checking it out. Once again, thank y'all so much. I am Ruben Calvillo. That is Harley Dugan. We are Believe in Houston Texans. You guys have a